Hello and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be talking about veganism, vegetarianism and meat usage, as well as the debates that are commonly found in the topics around this issue. We're going to be not giving you a certain answer of, oh, you should be a vegan or you should not be a vegan. Personally, I'm not a vegan. I love my meat. I love eating meat a lot. It is brilliant. I love it a lot. I love my steaks cooked. So the vegans are probably going to hate me in the comments. But these are some of the issues that you're going to have to wrestle with about your meat usage. And it's this very important topic to come across because number one, everyone has to think about what they're eating. Number two, everyone's an ethical person. And number three, well, we have to be consistent about our meat usage. We can't be just inconsistent and hypocrites, which could lead to some questionable conclusions that we'll be discussing towards the end of this video. This is not a way to say you must be a vegan. However, it is a way to think about some of the issues as a nice philosophical game. So to start off, let's talk about health. Now, health is not my expertise, and I'm not here to be a dietitian and say, oh, vegan diets are unhealthy, whereas omnivore diets are very healthy. That really isn't the argument that I am trying to make here. However, health is indeed a very important consideration when it comes to choosing and thinking about these things philosophically. It's very easy for philosophers to put themselves into a bubble, this God's eye view, and say, well, yes, veganism, what's the net benefits and the net downsides, negatives for adapting veganism without really concerned about the actual practicalities of veganism in general. You might hear arguments purely focused on, well, okay, it's not really good for animals, it's not good to kill animals, and so forth, without really thinking, well, actually, what does it mean to actually live out a worldview? Worldviews are not just a single set of propositions, but rather something which impacts both your practical life, as well as, of course, your theoretical obligations. And when it comes to veganism, it's important to think about the practical side as well as the theoretical side. And of course, this raises interesting questions. For example, if someone comes up to you and says, well, Josh, actually, imagine it's an omniscient supercomputer did this calculation. Adopting veganism would detract from your life with 10% on the health side. It's 10% less healthy than eating meat. Alternatively, despite this negative, this 10% negative, you might be able to save 2% more animals. How exactly can I measure these two things up? Is the lives of 100 cows I eat during my whole life worth the 10% of health gains I get? Or perhaps maybe the 10% isn't worth it, and maybe I should just become a vegan, not necessarily because it's more healthy, but just because the health gains that I get is not sufficient to outweigh the lives that might have to be sacrificed in order to help my health. These are important questions which you will have to come up yourself, because there's no clear objective metrics as to how you can compare certain aspects of goods to certain aspects of downsides, which are of a different category. Comparing these categories are difficult, and each person has their own ways to try to bring these two together. And these are distinctions which often come up in moral decision making. For example, if I cross the street and I jaywalk, is my duty to follow the law more important to me, or is my duty to get from one place to another more important to me? Two different categories. How do you balance them? Each person will come up with different ideas. Now, the second thing is in the environment. Once again, this is one of those important questions that you have to ask yourselves. Is it good for the environment to be a vegan? A lot of people say yes, and of course that is very true. There's less gas which is produced from the livestock. Maybe less forests have to be deforested in order to have these massive fields in which the cows can roam, the sheep can roam. Okay, there's that argument. But at the same time, on the flip side, one cannot be naive and say, well, okay, just being a vegan solves all these problems. Because, well, when you think about it, well, actually, vegans, in order to grow tofu, to grow farm, to farm fruits, vegetables, you also need space to grow those plants and vegetables. What does that also require you to do? Well, potentially deforestation as well. Cut down trees in order to add that, to have that land to grow food. What does that also mean? Maybe it means killing the animals in that place, because you need to get rid of the pests in order to make sure that no pests eat your crops, which is why people often have herbicides and whatnot to make sure that, pesticides and herbicides to get rid of the herbs and also get rid of the pests in order to prevent those crops from being destroyed, which is why organic food is definitely more difficult to come across and is more expensive. So when you're thinking about these questions, it's very easy for people to present a certain view to say, well, yes, of course, be vegan because it reduces gas input, and methane kind of production by a certain amount. But also you need to recognize, well, okay, yes, I might have reduced methane production by a certain amount, but well, what is the alternative? As a vegan, am I also leading to a lot of animal deaths by being a vegan? I mean, there's that common Joe Rogan clip, which I think has been going around the place quite a lot, which says, well, yeah, people say, don't kill animals, don't kill animals, don't kill animals. Well, that's all well and good until you realize actually to be a farmer, you also have to kill loads of animals. You need to kill everything on that plain in order to make sure that nothing is destroying your crops. So once again, it comes to one of those category balances. Yes, gas production, environmental causes on the vegan side has its own costs. On the meat eater side, it has its own costs as well. How do you balance those two against each other? Well, that's once again an important thing for you to think about yourself. Well, maybe, and also that leads to further questions, for example, right? Is killing 10 cows as morally bad as killing 100,000 insects? Well, maybe if I spray some pests across my field, yeah, I might not have killed any large animals like a cow or a pig or anything, but well, I might have just killed all the wildlife and the insects that lived on that field. Well, that's quite a lot of insects, perhaps. Maybe on the field there may be worms, there might be bugs, insects, all of those get killed. Well, how do I balance the individual lives against each other? If all lives are equally valuable, then surely me killing those 100,000 insects is worse than me killing that 10,000 cows that are killed at a farm each year or whatever. So once again, you see there's a lot of factors that are coming in that you have to think about when we're wrestling with the question of veganism. Now, finally, and this is the most interesting part, what do we do about the ethical concern? Because we've talked a bit about the environmental, the health aspects, and I'm not really an expert on either of them. However, when it comes to ethics, it is an important question. I think there's four questions that you have to wrestle with when it comes to veganism. Firstly, there's this question about the concern of animal life. How valuable are animal lives? As I just noted, we already grade the value of different lives in a different order. For example, we probably would grade cows as being more valuable than the random insect. When I get to a new apartment, I see a cockroach running around the floor, I just smash the cockroach. I don't feel that I've done anything morally wrong. Whereas if I saw a cow walking in the field, I pulled out a shotgun and just shot it in the head, it might be like, well, hold on a second, you've done something kind of gratuitously, and that's kind of undesirable. In the same way, well, if a squirrel runs into my room, I probably wouldn't just shoot the squirrel and kill it. I'll probably try to catch and throw it out the window again to make sure it can live properly. So once again, you can see there's this question of, well, how valuable are animal lives? And well, to what extent should we allow the protection of animal lives to kind of hinder our own productivity and our own growth as a human species? Where do we rank humans on that scale of valuable things and invaluable things? And where do animals, and especially certain types of animals, come in? For example, if it came to the conclusion that someone believed, well, okay, fish are way less important than cows, well, all right, then maybe, well, a cow, I'll not eat cows, but I'll eat fish instead. That's why there's pescatarians. However, you might come back and say, well, hold up a second, this just all seems pretty arbitrary. All the standards that you're using, intelligence, intellect, whatever, can be completely ad hoc. If you judge the value of a life based on, well, how intelligent it is or how complex it is, well, what about the guy who's gone into a coma and doesn't seem to have any intellect going on with him? He's just kind of lying in bed and does nothing else. Well, does it mean now that he doesn't have intellect, just in the same way the fish doesn't have intellect, that we can just go shoot up that guy in the coma bed and say, well, all right, let's just eat you instead because you're less valuable than humans? People will be like, okay, well, that's just clearly horrible. So once again, we see there's a lot of these different factors coming into play and that you have to think about when it comes to veganism. And before we carry on with this video, I'd like to just give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is myself. I've set up a website called Philosophy Circle, which is there to guide you in your journey doing philosophy and theology, be it applying for universities, or be it you're working through your A-levels and you want some help, or you just want someone to talk to and experience the Oxford tutorial system that I've so gratefully been benefited from, then make sure to check out Philosophy Circle. You can go and get in touch with some really top quality tutors, as well as myself, in the comments below. Make sure you go check that out. And now let's carry on about those ethical concerns. The second thing is, well, all right, is there a difference between factory farming and farming in general? There's oftentimes you look at vegan content out there and they're always focusing on the horrific signs of factory farming. And most people would agree it's not great that you have a room like mine and you have it packed to the absolute brim with animals. And you say, well, okay, that's kind of morally problematic. We should not abuse animals because putting animals in that setting is akin to abuse, and we're kind of torturing them in order for our own gains. You know, it's not great that they're living in that way. No living thing should have to live through those conditions in factories. And someone could say, well, yes, I very heartedly agree with your argument. Well, what does that mean to all farming? Just because factory farming is bad, does it mean that we should then go and say, well, all farming is bad? We should never eat meat in general. What about the guy who goes hunting? What if the guy who goes instead of going to the farm, buys something off the grocery store, which might be factory farm, and then brings it home? He brings his gun, rifle out to the wilderness, snipes a deer, cuts the deer open, brings it home and eats it. Well, that that deer seems to have just lived a normal life that any deer would, instead of the chicken which has been locked up. And if you want something close to a chicken analogy, imagine somebody goes turkey shooting or just goes shooting to hunt birds, migratory birds, or whatever birds that you're hunting in that situation. Are those equivalent situations? I think intuitively you would say perhaps not. And in the same way, when it comes for me to choose what to eat, I always choose to buy organic food, things from family-owned businesses, and buy from sources which do indeed grow animals, I think, in an ethical way. And now I would say, well, that situation is very different to factory farming, and I don't think we should have factory farming. Instead, we should focus on more ethical growing of animals and raising of livestock. However, you could say, well, all right, what's the point of even raising an animal in a more ethical way if you're just going to kill them in the future? Well, that's another question that you might want to think about as well. Well, okay, if someone's going to die anyways, is there something intrinsically morally wrong about raising something just to die? And that might seem like a very shocking argument. So, well, hold on a second. An animal goes through life, they might be eaten by a predator. But, well, when we put something in a farm, we know 100% certain that that animal is going to die. We're growing them purely for the purpose of death. Is that any good? Well, initially that might seem like a strong argument until you think to maintain consistency. When we have children, we all know the children's going to die sooner or later. Is there a substantial difference between raising something which has 100% certainty of death because we're going to eat it and having a kid who also has 100% certainty of death? Of course, we're not going to eat the child. That'll be morally monstrous. But is there really a difference? Or is it a factor to say, well, we're raising something only for the sake of dying, when in fact everyone is going to die one day anyways, and it's just an inherent part of human existence and animal existence that everyone's going to die? So is that even a concern that we should think about? Well, that's an important question to me. And finally, well, how do you rank the value of different animals? This is what we talked about in the past, but this is something I think we should really consider. I think everyone should consider this. Being a Chinese person, lots of people often accuse us of eating dogs. And of course, eating dogs, people in the West would say, well, that's morally monstrous. But if we think about it seriously, is there really any difference between eating a pig and eating a dog apart from personal preferences? On an ontological and an objective level, is there any difference between eating a dog and a pig? The reason why I say pig is because a lot of people say, well, dogs are humans' best friends. They're so intelligent. How can you possibly eat a dog? But then if you actually think about it, pigs are very, very intelligent as well. If you raised a pig, it probably would get along with you pretty well, and you would have quite a deep emotional attachment to the pigs. They're very smart. They can even find truffles. They have these pigs running around the place, and they can find truffles, which are very, very priceless and very expensive artifacts and foods for people to eat. So, well, you could say, well, is there actually a serious difference here? If you are a vegan, you could just say, well, okay, I'm not being inconsistent here. I'm saying we should not eat all animals. But then, if you are a meat eater, you have to think, well, am I willing to eat a dog? Now, of course, there's a difference to say, well, am I willing to eat a dog, and saying, well, am I morally permitted to eat a dog? Because those are two different things. I might say, well, I don't like the fact that people are eating dogs, but, it's not a moral problem that they're eating dogs. It's not my personal preference. I wouldn't eat a dog myself. But those people are eating dogs. What can I say about that? I think that is really, in my honest opinion, the only position that one can hold if they eat meat. One cannot say, well, I'm just going to not eat dogs, but I'll eat a pig instead. I think all of these things are morally permissible. The only question just is, to what extent can I justify it, and how much of it is cultural, just baggage and upbringing? And I'm yet to this day ever heard a good argument for why one should not eat a dog and eat a pig instead as a moral argument. Now, of course, once again, as I say very clearly, I'm not telling you all to go home and eat dogs. Rather, what I am saying is that you should really think, am I being consistent by my distaste towards people who eat dogs? Rather, is it just a cultural preference, and there's not actually a morally objectionable reason for why eating dogs are bad, apart from things which could be equally applied to almost any other animal if you so tried to raise them. Now, of course, one could say, well, okay, we just raise pigs, we just raise dogs, we breed them to be our pets. But while if someone raised pigs to be their pets, they probably would say the exact same thing about you eating pigs instead. So, that's an important thing to keep in mind in order to be consistent. And consistency is a very key, important idea to have in mind. Now, finally, the question is, well, are you willing to kill animals? There's always this question, which I think is very important. If you're willing to eat an animal, would you be willing to kill it by your own hands? It's one thing to say, I'm going to pick an animal off the shelf, like a steak, a nice sirloin, juicy sirloin steak, and say, I'm going to cook this tonight. And there's another thing to go to a butcher's, go to a farm, actually slice the head off the old cow or kill them in whatever way they do it, and then cut the meat out and actually eat it, because that's a way more intimate process. That's why I love hunting. I love fishing. So I could say at least I'm consistent in the fact that I'm willing to kill animals to eat them, instead of just saying, well, I'm willing to eat the dead animal, but I'm unwilling to kill it. I think there's a problem there as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like always, let me know your thoughts about these questions I've raised. As I've said, this video is not to tell you to be a vegan or not be a vegan, but rather to raise some of the important questions that you have to wrestle with if you want to indeed eat meat or be a vegan. These are some questions that everyone has to wrestle with. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How would you answer it? Would you eat a dog? Is it morally impermissible to eat a dog? Let me know that in the comments below. Stay safe. See you soon. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. I'll see you next one.